Hold on a sec. Yeah, we're live.
Great.
Okay, cool. So what are we talking about today?
We're going to do a review of the great new Netflix show, Jupiter's Legacy.
Let's get into it. Okay, so should we do a quick summary or do people already know?
Music.
Music. Oh, shit. We need some music. Come on, you
Got
guys.
music in the back.
Get it together.
Setting the ambiance.
Little Miles Davis. Okay, so should we do a little...
Let's just go. Let's go.
All right, people know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Jupiter's Legacy. It's number 1 or number 2 on Netflix right now?
Currently, yes.
Okay. Now, good things about it. I like the way that Josh Duhamel's kind of broken out a little bit of his general. He seemed to be typecast, and I think he's showing a little bit more range with his acting.
Oh man,
as the
that's
Utopian,
fantastic.
right?
He's a guy from Transformers. I mean, it was just a
Yeah.
military dude.
He was a military dude, or I think he was in another show, Las Vegas, was it, on TV?
Yeah, he was on that, which is good.
So he's kind of typecast as like a good-looking, schmoozing, or action, just a generic sort of good-looking guy, right? But this show allows him to do a little more range, and I think he does a good job.
I think it was a fantastic job. He's covering different eras, different states of being. He's freaking out. He's a businessman. He's a superhero. He's losing his mind.
Yes.
He's a dad.
He's a dad.
He's got a lot of range there.
Well, and now I'm glad you brought that up, that he's a dad, because really it seems to me that the show is focusing on the idea that what if a Superman type hero figure was your father? What would his family life actually be like? What if Superman had actually married Lois Lane and created super children? Like, what is that? A dramatic take on that family life going to be?
Agreed. Well, and isn't that the mythos? Isn't that the reasoning of all superhero shows? Is to represent is to reflect what society does and what it's all about. So I guess this is directly going right into family life, which you don't really do a lot of in other shows. Like, this is literally a superhero family.
Okay, if superheroes and the superhero genre in general is supposed to be reflective, a mirror of what humanity is,
yes,
of what it could be, of its potential, both as an extreme good and an extreme bad, because that's why we have supervillains, right?
That's right.
Because we want to see those extremes of experiences and why we need superheroes, because there's terrible evil in the world and we can rise to our better selves.
Yes.
And the more it seems that as we continue on with these shows and they become more and more sophisticated, and I don't mean just the Marvel universe or DC, where we already see a lot of creativity and subversive elements. When we're talking about shows like The Boys, which will inevitably be,
we'll take a look.
We'll definitely
dive deep into The Boys.
Yeah, we'll inevitably have to compare Jupiter's Legacy to The Boys. There's a lot of parallels there.
Yeah.
When we're looking at these types of, like I said, subversive shows like The Boys, or a show like Jupiter's Legacy, where we're showing a mirror to society, then I think it's incumbent upon us to not, if we're serious people, and we're not serious, we're not saying we're serious guys, but if we're taking a look at it seriously, then we have to say, well, what is the show trying to tell us?
Convey. Yeah, what's the lesson?
Yeah, especially with this family-oriented stuff, because no other show has really done that.
Yeah, not so directly. And superhero, I always believe that these superhero programs are the mythology of our era.
They probably are. I mean, we have myths passed down through the ages, but of our era is probably a good way to put it. Because what do myths actually do, right? They are reflective and informative of our society at large.
That's right. That's right.
And they're both probably a cause and a symptom of what's happening in our society at large.
Absolutely.
That's why some of those Norse myths actually focus on these heroes that do things that seem kind of I don't want to get too technical about mythology right now. Let's focus on the show.
Yeah. I think in this case, what's quite different about it is that it covers two very different time eras, the 1920s and then current day, essentially, right? And really follows that up. Now it does really delve into the code and the morality of should superheroes kill or not kill, right? If Batman doesn't kill the Joker, is then Batman responsible for all the people that the Joker kills, right? In this particular case, it really focuses on the code to kill or not to kill and the ramifications of what happens if you do or do not.
And I guess the timeliness of said code,
Yes.
because
What was relevant to the 1920s may not be relevant today.
And what's relevant in a myth from a particular era might not be relevant to a current mythology. So maybe this show is cleverer than we even gave it first credit for, because if it realized that it's a modern day myth or part of modern day myth telling, right? It's actually asking, well, wait a minute. The classic or the ancient mythological superhero code is thou shalt not kill. It's a kind of a biblical thing, right?
Yeah.
Batman doesn't kill at first, right?
Mhm.
Batman wasn't supposed to kill. Even in the Dark Knight shows, he said, we don't know killing, he says,
Yes.
to Catwoman. And then she replies, where's the fun in that? So even in the modern day, right? And then Superman, of course, his major ethos was, or his major mandate, his own personal code was, I'm not going to kill anybody. I'm Superman.
Well, if we want to dilute it down, it's evolution and changing of the times. Like, so we've got some old people with classic ideas,
Yeah.
and then the new generation,
Yeah.
changing it up, challenging those ideas.
We do. And that, maybe that's the crux of the show. And maybe that's why they delve so much into the idea of, let's really examine the origin story of these 6 heroes that they go to Jupiter. Let's really break it down. And you were mentioning before we even got on to YouTube about how you really like how this show breaks down that origin story, probably in more direct detail than any other superhero show.
Absolutely. The 1920s portion of it is probably my favorite portion.
Wow.
Classic movies.
Yeah.
Classic movies. And I felt the journey. I felt the journey.
Yes.
Felt the journey of that.
I did
thought
too.
It was great.
So I like a
lot of gravitas in that journey.
So what's your favorite thing about the show so far?
My favorite thing is the utopian and its problem with holding that main idea, the code from the beginning, and then having to question it constantly where he is currently. He's very broken per se. He can't figure this out. He has to question what he's believed for all of this time.
Okay, I like that. I like the way you put that. Also, I'm not sure what my favorite part of the show is right now. But you're to ask me that question back, I don't think I could answer intelligently, because there's too many mixed elements for me that I find interesting, but nothing that particularly stands out. So one of the points was that you made, the battle that the utopian has between the code and realism. Like, do I have to deal with the realistic situation that it's facing me today? But I really like the family interaction, particularly with his daughter. She's a wonderful actress, and she looks like Winona Ryder.
She absolutely does. Yes.
She looks like Winona Ryder, which is probably not Elena Kampouris.
Yes.
Elena Kampouris. So she reminds me of, as I already said, the young Winona Ryder, but some real serious acting chops there. And I think we should expect great things from her.
Oh man, very believable in this role.
Through
and you know that this is a broken person in this show. And we all, you can definitely relate to her as far as her rejecting the family, rebelling against what's occurred, and you can see again. I like the utopia, and you can see his problem back and forth with her, and dealing with that classic coming of age thing with the children, and what is he going to do? How is he going to deal with that? And her, she's definitely a tortured character.
I think that's why I find myself gravitating towards her and the utopian, their dynamic. Because I feel that you've got the inner tension of family dynamics, but then you have the idea of someone who's completely accepting of his superhero power and his role, therefore, great power comes great responsibility, and all that. And then the complete rejection of that.
Right.
So we have two main, because any great story has to have that real conflict, right? And I see major conflict with him just raising a daughter.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, we have this extra consequence of, these are super powered beings, and it seems through the course of the show that she's just as strong as her brother, who's also quite strong, right?
Yeah.
And the utopian is constantly telling Paragon,
yes,
right, that he is going to be just as powerful as he is. He just hasn't grown into all his powers yet, namely the laser vision. But so that's why I think
my favorite part about the utopian is that he's got his costume, then out of it, he's all denim jacket, denim jeans,
Fleece
and
shirts,
he's got this long,
flat
yeah,
shirts.
he's just this very unassuming guy with the long hair, walking around in all pure denim. And
Yeah, he
it's
looks like
pretty
how a
funny.
snowboarder would dress, like
Yeah.
when he's not on the hill,
Yeah.
which I think is totally cool
Yeah.
because I love people who snowboard and all things to do with that. Okay,
So the code, I think, is the main questioning factor in this thing, and then really the jumping back in time.
jumping
Figure out how
back
did
in
they
time.
get here? Like, how did these people become who they are?
I think it adds more.
We can't forget about Walter.
We don't want to forget about, well, that's, see, again, more family dynamics, because we have a brother. It's almost like, not to get too far into mythology, right? But it's almost like that Zeus Poseidon dynamic, because Zeus and Poseidon had issues.
Cain and Abel.
Sure. So we have this brotherly, right, fraternal conflict,
Yes.
which also adds, again, to the dynamic of the general familial conflict, because it seems like Walter is subtly recruiting, spoiler alert, right? Subtly recruiting the daughter to his cause. Because if you look carefully at the first couple episodes, Walter's a little bit more accepting of her rebelliousness.
Oh, he is. You're right.
And she seems to like hanging out with Walter, right? The fun uncle.
Yes.
Who does
That's
give her
right.
a hard time.
That's right.
So I think that we'll see, hopefully, in fact, I say hopefully, that maybe we'll see her tempted to go towards Walter's side of things. And then again, upping the stakes of this familial battle, because she rejects the code. So does her mother.
Oh,
Her mother, right? Everybody seems to be rejecting the code of the utopian. And it seems like the show is telling us that rightfully so.
The passing of the torch. Passing of the torch. You can't hold on to those old values too hard. Can't hold anything. Don't squeeze it too hard. It goes right through your fingers.
It's almost it's a subtly progressive message in that you have to accept change when change tells you, right? When the world is telling you that your old modes of thinking aren't going to work.
Outdated.
They're outdated. If Paragon hadn't punched out Black Star, they'd all be dead.
They would be. Yeah. Change or die.
Holy, I mean, that's serious business right there, brother.
Absolutely.
Change or die.
Absolutely.
That's serious. That's pretty serious. That's serious message.
So yeah, I mean, this show is a great show. I loved it all the way through.
What don't we like?
What don't we like? What we don't like? I wasn't a big fan of the craziness in the house, in the farmhouse with the windmill. But you go down a pretty crazy path there. I don't know how wigged out you want to be on any type of substance watching that scene.
Right. Okay.
But I mean,
do you have any issues with the sex and the drugs, anything like that? I think it's fine. I like it.
It's great.
Sex and drugs.
Listen, it's a great show. The thing about these superhero shows, I love it. I grew up reading comics, loved it. I remember being a kid saying I would watch Star Wars at the old farm, then we'll go read comics, and I'd say, it's too bad we'll never see the Hulk on film. It's too impossible. And look at where we are today. So we've got these great stories told by incredible gods, monsters, superheroes that we can see visually. And now the storytelling is getting so good that we're really delving into some serious issues. That's what this does.
And again, with the boys and Marvel and DC, I think we're seeing, this is where you can't just make a superhero movie anymore where a guy gets bitten by a spider and then rescues some people, slings some webs. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
We have to have an actual foil to that character, and we have to have a definite character arc. It's not, otherwise audiences are too sophisticated.
That's right. Sophistication.
Way too sophisticated.
For sure.
So the only thing that I think of the show, well, it's not the only thing. I'm sure there's more. I'll have more criticisms. But what I do find just slightly troubling, and I don't want to sound like I'm pumping the diversity drum unnecessarily, but it would be nice just to see a little bit more diversity in the main cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, that's cool. They have a family. I get it. They're all from the 1920s.
Right.
So family's going to be, right. It'd be nice to see a little bit more, but I think we see quite a bit of diversity with the daughter again, right? And her friends
getting together with Hutch.
Oh yeah, Hutch is an interesting guy. Oh, that's what I want to talk to you about. So yeah, okay. So my general criticism, like maybe a little bit more diversity would be cool, but I think that will be addressed in future episodes.
I think so. I hope
And
so.
I'm not overly concerned about it. We'll see what happens. Also, I think that Black Star is an interesting character, and I love, just quick detail, I love seeing him in his jail cell, spectacles on.
Yes, that is the best.
Because it throws over the idea of
Bad
him
guy with
being
the spectacles.
he's not completely evil and stuff.
No.
Is he reading a romance novel? I don't know. So we have to go back and take a closer look at those details, but I think that's great.
Yes, I do. I love a bad dude with the spectacles.
And question, is Black Star's heart itself made of nuclear fissile material? Is there nuclear fission or fusion going on there? Because when the Utopian says he's going nuclear, that's when Paragon has to punch him out to save everybody's life. Clearly, this family, the Utopian and his family, are not invincible.
No.
That's clear. But clearly, a nuclear explosion would destroy
Wipe them out. It would wipe them all out. And
Yeah.
then, and if he didn't die, or then he would just have the run over anything.
Yeah.
So if he kills them all, and they stick to the code, well then Black Star is running the joint.
Running the show. And would Black Star die from going nuclear? Because remember, they're fighting his clone, and does the clone are all his powers cloned 100%? Is there any drop off? So these are some questions I wouldn't mind having answered.
Yeah,
more
which
detail.
hopefully we will find out as we move along.
And
right?
it didn't seem that Black Star knew he was cloned
No, he did not.
until they told him. Is that right?
That's from my recollection.
Drop
I
us a
believe
comment
that
and let us
he-
know if we're being
I
idiots
think
about that. But I'd like to have that.
And
question
that was,
answered.
and then the mastermind behind all of that, they're saying that it's Skyfox or George.
Oh, Skyfox or George. However, as we learn,
It's Walter.
it's Walter. So we have to, and that's the other thing I would like. I would like a little bit more details about what's going on with Skyfox at the present moment, because he's kind of like this absentee,
Yes, very much
villainous,
so.
ethereal figure
Yep.
that we don't get to see much of. And I thought George was actually kind of a somewhat compelling of a character in the 1920s.
Oh, he's great.
Because he's a loyal friend,
Mhm.
but he's a bit of a dandy, right? He's a bit of a spoiled brat, but he's a loyal friend. And it seems like he's basically a good guy.
Oh, he is very much so. It's all a front, it appears, that he's putting on because he had his parents die and so forth in a accident or what have you.
Yeah.
And then he is the true dear friend of Sheldon.
But Sheldon, they're George and Sheldon, they're best friends. They say it over and over again.
And whereas Walter is the outsider throughout, and this creates that conflict.
And that probably is what germinates the villainous side of Walter, because he's obviously jealous of Sheldon's interaction with their father, that he seemed like he was the favorite of the father, but also with George. And you can see that. Remember, when they go to Jupiter, it's not just George and Walter that have to let bygones be bygones.
Sheldon and Walter as well.
Sheldon and Walter as well. So they're foreboding right there that there's going to be some issues in that family dynamic. And of course, Walter is revealed to be
That's right.
to be the guy.
And that scene of them getting their powers and getting to that final, it was great, the contrast between the 1920s background
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're seeing this wall with
This
these
psychedelic wall.
yeah
With these mythological type
luminescent
design,
wall.
bioluminescence, it seems, because,
Such great contrast.
or at least triggered by some sort of biological
yeah.
situation, because they don't light up until the people are not only considered worthy, but there has to be the right dynamic between those
Yes.
people.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they have to be a team. They have to have cohesiveness.
So, okay, now, if they have to be considered worthy, then none of the six can be truly evil, because they never would have been considered worthy in the first place.
Oh, well, that's a good. So, and that's part of, there's a lot of shades of gray in this movie.
Oh, did you
Because
see what he did there?
see what I
Did you
did?
see what he did
Yeah.
there?
So there isn't.
He does things like that.
The world is not black and white. It is
Well,
multi shades.
it kind of
can be. Yeah, that's
it's-
right.
well, so
Right.
yeah,
Morality play all throughout.
that's
Yes.
right.
Anyway, yeah. So here's my question. Here's my big thing now.
Okay.
Skyfox,
Yeah.
George,
Yeah.
is he really a bad guy? Is he really? Where is he? And maybe he was hip to Walter's play all along. Jettisoned out of there.
That's a good, okay. You know what? That's food for thought. And obviously, questions like that, I would think the writers have worked out or are ironing out.
Well, there is source material. There is a comic book. There's a comic book. We can read that.
But we haven't. And I'm not going to because I just want to take this show in this current medium. And
it's a great journey. It's a great ride, this whole thing. So maybe we should, wrap this up.
Yeah, let's wrap. Okay, so we're done with the Jupiter's Legacy, and then maybe we can chat about if we're going to keep on the superhero deal. Maybe our next show we could talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because that's some serious
great
business.
stuff.
That is, I think it's the superior show overall.
A bigger platform, a larger stage. We're talking about the MCU. We're well-known characters, but not the big stars. They're not the big three of the Avengers, but those two, man, they can carry the show. So yeah, let's talk about that next.
Okay, that's cool.
But say overall, what do we think about Jupiter's Legacy?
I would think that it's a show that has a lot of potential, and definitely interested to see where it goes next. And as it stands right now, I find most of the characters compelling. I find that the story itself is going in somewhat different directions than shows that we've already seen. So I think it's breaking a little bit of new ground. It's not entirely original, but how can it be at this point?
True.
But
it's a superhero genre. It is a genre.
But it's giving us a little bit of a different take than, say, The Boys or The Falcon and Winter Soldier. Or the MCU. So I think it's a worthwhile watch.
I agree. I think it's a great family dynamic, as we discussed. The main protagonist is quite tortured in what he has to question himself and his main code.
Yeah,
it's a great ride. I think it's a roller coaster that's fun to jump on and go with.
That's sure. Good stuff, man. Okay, so good to see everybody.
That is Jupiter's Legacy.
Should we have a random tip? Keep your stick on the ice, something like that? No?
I like it. That's
well,
good.
It's okay.
Stick in the ice. Balls in the air.
See you guys. Peace out. We love you.